And good afternoon. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Helping Seniors of Brevard, the program that's heard every Wednesday from 12 noon to 1 o'clock, right here on the Talk to Me Network, home of Helping Seniors of Brevard, and the Information Overload Hour here on 90.3 FM. Let's get things underway for this Wednesday afternoon as we check in with the host and Executive Director of Helping Seniors of Brevard, Kerry Fink. Good afternoon, Kerry.
Hey, John Harper, and thank you for the great introduction, and thank you for always being on point and on post with the Helping Seniors radio show. As you know, every Wednesday, 12 noon, it's our privilege to get together at lunchtime right here on 90.3 FM, WEJF radio. And we also want to welcome those who join us online, literally from wherever you are or may be, at WEJF.net. And again, I always like to send a shout out to everybody who now catches these as podcasts, because kind of the moment the broadcast ends, everything goes into gear so that it gets out on our podcast network. So if you like Apple iTunes, or you like Spotify, or you like iHeartRadio, or maybe you just like to go, hey, Alexa, play Helping Seniors Radio. All those ways will get you to the Helping Seniors podcast for our radio show. And, you know, one of the things that I like to talk about when we're talking about this organization, the Florida nonprofit that Joe Steckler, our president and founder, established in 2011, that's when this organization began serving Brevard County, and for all that time, we've been managing the county senior information helpline. That's a free call for seniors and those that care and love for seniors at 321-473-7770. That number again, 321-473-7770. Really has become a game changer in Brevard County, because people often say, what does Helping Seniors do? We do three things. Number one, we do take those incoming calls. We call it senior care navigation. And Nancy Deerdorf, who has 33 years registered nurse experience here in Brevard County, and also ran one of the largest home health agencies here in Brevard County for many, many years. She sat on the board of directors with Helping Seniors from the very day that Joe Steckler started the organization. She took a couple of years where she had to be caregiver, actually, for her sister. And then as that point in life kind of shifted as her sister transitioned, then we were at the place where we asked her if she would join us. And she said, I would love to come on board and serve as your operations director, which she does. And so we have the benefit of her expertise and her wisdom guiding us on all these calls that we receive on the Senior Information Helpline, because she likes to categorize herself as a senior care navigator. And one of the things that means is people are familiar with like referral lines, like I call this number and they'll give me a number of who I'm supposed to call given my situation. But this goes much deeper than that. Usually it's not that simple, like here's the number, that should solve your problem. Usually it's like, here's a number, let's start here, let's see what happens. If that works or if that's helpful, terrific, then we'll keep going. But if we need to check in a week and make sure that we've pointed you in the right direction, or if maybe there's another thing that we should scope out, that's what Nancy specializes in. And that's kind of the heart and soul of Helping Seniors. The second thing we do is this media outreach, where we try to keep everybody aware of what's going on in the senior marketplace. And you know, with literally 650,000 people plus in Brevard County, of which fully a quarter of those are 65 plus. And then if you just want to use AARP's definition of 50 plus, that would be like one out of every two persons you meet in Brevard County is a senior. And so getting information into the hands of the seniors and those that love and care for them is so important, particularly if you just reading any part of the news, you see how fast Florida's growing. People are moving to our area of Florida in particular in just droves. And so a lot of these people, they don't know who to call, where to go, how to get information, who to trust, where to start. And so the Senior Information Helpline is actually growing dramatically quickly in leaps and bounds by the number of calls that we're taking. Nancy's reporting over 300 calls a month, and so that just gives you some kind of an idea of the kind of interest in things that people needing help as seniors. And in fact, last month we had over 1,500 people visit Helping Seniors in Brevard website. Many more visits because many people visited more than one time, but literally 1,500 distinct visits just to the website. And that doesn't count people looking at the TV programs, the radio shows. We publish in the Center of Senior Scene magazine. 12 to 14,000 copies of that go out every single month to over 500 pickup points around the county. And so getting education out, just like what we're doing on today's radio show, is so important. And the third thing, of course, we do is we advocate for seniors. And that means Joe Steckler. If you know anything about Joe, he's a retired Navy captain. He's the guy who started up the Brevard Alzheimer's Foundation, got all that rolling, got him the 3 daycare facilities throughout Brevard County called Joe's Clubs. They call them Joe's Clubs to this day. And then as he retired from that, more than probably close 12, 15 years ago, then he turns around, can't stay retired, and says, we got to do more for seniors, and comes up with this whole thing called Helping Seniors of Brevard. And the whole purpose is to get information to connect seniors to resources that are going to help them along the way. And so that kind of leads us into, I'm so excited that we have a great friend of ours, a longtime friend of the Helping Seniors organization. She is one of those people who really embodies everything we talk about for seniors, having a care and a passion to make sure seniors are getting the help that they need. I'm talking about our longtime friend, Barb McIntyre with Reverse Mortgage Funding. How are you, Barb?
Oh, I'm just terrific, Kerry, and it's great to be here as always. And I just, when I hear all the things Joe has done for the senior community in Brevard, I'm just so tickled that I got to meet him and win him over and educate him on this product that I specialize in, but more importantly, got to dovetail all the different things that seniors need in this county, and know that I'm working with such a great team to be able to hear the need and find the resource. And Helping Seniors of Brevard does exactly that, and I feel like it's a privilege to be a part of the group. Yeah, so thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. You know, last week on the radio, we had Dr. Lee Sheldon. He's a noted area periodontist, and we were actually talking about a topic called the formula to dental success. That show, by the way, like all the shows we do, we archive them. They're available because people like to, this information doesn't go out of date. So people go back and they look at these shows. We have the TV shows archived, the radio shows archived, the columns that everybody contributes are also available. You just get them at helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. People will go in there and search by subject matter. They'll find us on our YouTube channel, Helping Seniors of Brevard. They'll find us on our Facebook page. And so it was so funny because when I was talking with Dr. Sheldon last week, we had been recently going back through the universe of Helping Seniors television programs. We've now done literally 270 plus television programs since Joe started the Helping Seniors organization. And I was reminding Dr. Sheldon that he was actually Joe's very first program that Joe organized TV program when we started the Helping Seniors TV programs all the way, and that was 2012. And then that got me thinking, Barb, I should look up, and you know, it was literally it would be like March 12th, March 20th of 2015, and you sat down, March 20th, 2015, you sat down with Joe Steckler to do a TV show about reverse mortgages. And I remember that distinctly because Joe is he's so on point, wanting to make sure that everything is on the up and up for seniors, that it's done with the best interest of seniors in mind. And he clearly had some of those stories, those old stories that had popped up, you know, well, reverse mortgages, they're just out to get your house, blah, blah, blah. And he put you through the ringer to try to set the record straight. And you did.
Yes,
you won him over.
Yeah, he did. He just asked me great questions, and he gave me the opportunity to do what I like to do best, which is to dispel all the misconceptions about the reverse mortgage product. And I got the opportunity to do that more than once with Joe before he completely bought into that I was really for real.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, go ahead.
And as a result, he when he meets people that have any question about a reverse mortgage, whether they've had one themselves for a long time, or they're considering one, or they're just not sure, he always says, you have got to call Barbara McIntyre. She'll come out to your home. It doesn't matter. She doesn't sell you anything. She just wants to make sure you understand and have all your questions answered. And I've always loved having that relationship with Joe, that he knows that's what motivates me. So yeah.
No, it's good. And I was thinking about as the time as those years have passed along, we just issued our April edition of the Helping Seniors newsletter. Our whole theme for this year is called Getting Your Ducks in a Row. And the object is to try to get people to think ahead. In other words, let's not react to the aging curve. Let's try to run ahead of the aging wave and think about the things that we might need to be just thinking our way through that could happen along the way. In Florida, I like to say we get a hurricane plan, right? Doesn't mean we want a hurricane. It means that we planned for contingencies in case we are going to get a hurricane. And that's kind of what we talk about with an aging plan. So when we say getting your ducks in a row, that's what we're trying to do. And so our April edition in the Helping Seniors newsletter was actually Let's Talk Financial. And you contributed an article in there. And this is how far we've come in those 7 years is you contributed an article called "Why is a Reverse Mortgage Considered a Financial Tool?" And so what I was thinking, Barb, is that 7 years ago, the whole industry was kind of coming out of that maybe stigma. I don't know if that's the right word, but that kind
Sure.
I don't know. It's a little shady. Now financial planners are understanding that this is a tool that's part of your retirement planning.
Absolutely, and it's a very valuable one. And it's, back actually well before 2015, in 2005 and 6, the reverse mortgage was really considered a mortgage of last resort. It was the last thing you did when you had pretty much used all of your retirement assets and you were really living hand to mouth, with Social Security income being the last of your resources, with oftentimes a paid for home, and you were having to decide how you were going to meet, be able to buy your groceries and fill your medical prescriptions. And so they referred to it as the mortgage of last resort. It still had a lot of misconceptions around it that were never true, such as the bank is buying your house, or you're going to not have any remaining equity, that it was a given that your kids would inherit nothing. Those things had always been misconceptions, but it was a very expensive mortgage, and it was what people did as a last resort. Well, over all the years that have passed, we've realized, well, I should say, these very smart financial gurus who educate financial planners in some of the biggest colleges around the country started analyzing what happens to a retirement plan when you use a reverse mortgage. In other words, you put your house, the equity of your home, into an overall strategic plan during retirement, and will that allow you to not outlive your retirement funds? And they did, those are very smart men and number crunchers, and they did a lot of they call them white papers, where they did research and analysis, and they started publishing in the Wall Street Journal, all kinds of financial magazines. They started publishing this information, all the different strategies that could be used so that people could use their house not to take equity out of the home and invest, but to actually use the way the reverse mortgage gives people access to the equity, such as possibly a monthly income stream, or pay off an existing mortgage that's taking a big payment every month that's depleting their cash flow, or putting a line of credit in place that will grow and become ultimately a resource for aging in place as a long-term health care plan. So they took all these different ways that the reverse mortgage can be used, and they started talking and teaching financial planners. And as financial planners started to accept the role of what they call a fiduciary, which means they have an obligation to make sure that their clients know all their options, the financial planners started having conversations about reverse mortgages and how it might fit into a plan. So all of that has led to where we are today, which is there's still people out there with grave misconceptions, and that's why I'm here and talk on the radio with you, Kerry, once a month, and make myself available at any time to help people understand. But it's just very important retirees or people moving in that direction start to look at everything that's at their fingertips to use to help them live a comfortable retirement. We live longer and it's expensive. Oh my goodness. So these are very important things to know. So that's what my article pretty much was driving, was my old standby, knowledge is power. And it's good to know. You need to know.
Yeah, you're saying it so well. So if you haven't picked up your copy of the Senior Scene magazine, make sure you get it. It's available at 500 pickup points around the around the county. There's like 14,000 copies of this that are out there every month. So, and if you can't find it there, you can read it online. You can just read it at seniorscenemag.com, or you can get it directly on our website at helpingseniorsbrevard.org. And there's a quote here that you had listed from a Dr. Fow, I guess is how he says his name,
yes,
who wrote this book called The New Case for Reverse Mortgages, published in the Wall Street Journal. And his quote was, "The reverse mortgage option should be viewed as a method for responsible retirees to create liquidity from an otherwise illiquid asset, which in turn can create new options that potentially support a more efficient retirement income strategy, such as more spending and or more legacy." And I thought that was a great quote that you put into the article, because that really kind of sums it up.
Absolutely. And his book is it's in its third what do you call that, revision or third,
right.
And it's number, Amazon has it's number, I think 15 in the bestseller list for in the financial planning arena. He's well thought of, and he's just, he just really understands how the HECM can be used to really, or even a conventional reverse mortgage. But he just like I feel so strongly is that, and I love that he says responsible retirees, because I think, like we talk about planning ahead of the time, looking toward retirement, looking at all the potential opportunities to start to think about how you're going to make your money last. It is a responsible retiree that starts to explore every opportunity, and doing it early rather than late. That also was studied very extensively in Dr. Fow's research, that it's you don't, the statistics on waiting and doing it as a last resort never worked out anywhere near as effectively as putting it in place early in retirement and taking advantage of things like the growth in the line of credit or the income stream that can help you defer early Social Security income instead of taking Social Security the second you're eligible, waiting to take it. So for more money, you can use equity from your home to meet the gap, to bridge the gap. So this article's 250 words. There is so many other aspects to what this product can do for people that my phone number is in the bottom of it. And again, I welcome anyone to call and just ask me questions. I am passionate about the product and I love to talk about it. So
yeah, we're gonna keep this conversation going when we move into the second half of the show. Real quickly, if somebody wants to reach you, they have a question. What is the number?
They can always reach me at 321-259-7880.
Yeah, and you're very generous with your time, and one of the things I love about it, it's not a sales call at all. You are literally a great resource, and I've seen you explain to people this may not be the right thing for you, but you really take the time to hear the story and help guide them based on what they share with you as the particulars of their situation. And that's, I think, one of the reasons that you end up being such a valuable resource and a trusted resource when it comes to this particular topic. So we're going to cover more of that, and on the second half of the show, we're also going to be talking about this thing that we began a conversation last month, Barb, when you were on the radio, about the affordable housing crisis in Brevard County. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as we get into the second half of the Helping Seniors radio show today. And we're also going to share with you some updates on the Helping Seniors car raffle, because we're moving kind of full swing into that. In fact, many of you have supported us before. You're going to be getting a letter from us in the mail because Joe Steckler has been hand signing these. I've been hand signing these, so there's this huge mailing that's going to go out just basically with the particulars about the car raffle. So we're going to be talking about that. Again, the date that you want to keep in mind for that is Saturday, October 29th. That's the grand drawing, and we'll come back after the break and talk a little bit more about some of the things that you want to be aware, the cars, how this works, how you get your tickets, and all of that. So we'll cover that next on the Helping Seniors radio show.
And that music kind of signals to us that it's time to get the second half of today's edition of Helping Seniors of Brevard for this Wednesday afternoon. Let's get back to more of the show and the lively conversation. Here is your host and the Executive Director of Helping Seniors of Brevard, Kerry Fink. Hey, Kerry.
Hey, John Harper. Thank you so much for all the work you do behind the scenes on all this. Folks, if you don't know, John Harper is actually Vice President of the Helping Seniors of Brevard organization. He goes way, way, way back also with Joe Steckler, our president and founder, literally back to Brevard Alzheimer's days. In fact, John was the one who got Joe started off in radio all those years ago. And I guess right next to John is the longest heard continuously running talk show host here in Brevard County. So that's a big chapter there for both John Harper, but also for Joe Steckler. And so the charge up the hill these days is for Helping Seniors of Brevard. I know you guys started together with Brevard Alzheimer's and worked up and built up those Joe's Clubs as a great senior daycare kind of resource that this county had not had available before that. So great plus up for Brevard County, which is so important considering how many people choose to retire in this area. And that's one of the reasons why Helping Seniors of Brevard exists and why we do this radio show, quite frankly, every Wednesday, lunchtime on 90.3 FM radio, WEJF. Those listeners who join us online are there at WEJF.net. And then folks all over the world are catching the podcast as we get those put up almost instantaneously after the broadcast. And so the whole mission is to get information in the hands of seniors, because if you're in Florida, even if you've been here for a while, things are changing. People are moving in from the north, south, east, west. New businesses are opening up. New places to work with are coming into existence. And you need to have some way to kind of understand what's going on around you. And that's one of the reasons why Helping Seniors exists, is to kind of inform, educate, and connect people to resources that are going to make a difference to them as they're aging. And one of the reasons why we're so blessed to have folks folks like Barbara McIntyre with Reverse Mortgage Funding as a business partner in the Helping Seniors world and as a great friend. She has certainly been with us every step of the way. We were talking about just a car raffle before we went into the break, the Helping Seniors car raffle. As a Florida nonprofit, everybody just assumes, there's all these grants and things, and it's not easy for a nonprofit. In fact, if we don't have your help, we can't stay, I would say in business, I would say in the nonprofit business. The difference between a for-profit and a nonprofit, I always explain to people, is like in a for-profit, I guess the owner is maybe thinking they're going to get a lot of money and they're going to buy a yacht. In a nonprofit, this is all about helping you. And Barb McIntyre, you're a person that has really devoted so much time and attention. You give of your time freely. You're very careful to not, quote, sell somebody a reverse mortgage. I've seen you talk people out of them when the situation is right. You really seem to be concerned with what's going to make the best difference for a senior.
I'm not a financial advisor by any means, but after, going on 17 years of working with this product and knowing that the purpose is to meet a financial need and for a lot of people really create a financial strategy for retirement, if they're looking at the product, but they're not looking at it realistically to truly answer a long-term goal, then I would feel terrible if I didn't really point that out and indicate, that it's just not a short-term mortgage. It's really designed only to be used when you want to stay and age in place in your home. So many of the features of this mortgage are only a benefit if you truly intend to stay in your home for at least 5 more years. But for most people, you plan to really stay and age in place. So yes, I just today I spoke with a past client who did their initial mortgage in 2019, and they were considering a refinance. And after we talked about why they were considering doing it, where interest rates are today, what they are trying to accomplish, it was my advice that I didn't think it was in their best interest to go forward at this time. And I can't tell you how grateful they were at my honesty and integrity to give them that advice, and how thrilled they were that they had called me to have a discussion. And so you're right. That's what motivates me. I really believe in the product, but I also believe we have to all do the right thing, and we're all in this world together trying to make ends meet and have a good retirement. I'm now fully a senior citizen with my own reverse mortgage, by the way, and it's just doing the right thing, and that's what pays off.
Yeah, you have an article we publish in the center section of Senior Scene magazine, the popular magazine that is, they do 14,000 copies of this every month, 500 locations around the county where you can pick these up, and we call it the yellow pages in the center because we take those over, and we've been on this kick this whole year. We call it getting your ducks in a row, but our idea is to help you to just think about things that will help you create your own aging plan, meaning that you're getting ahead of things that might come along the way as opposed to reacting to them. And so you did a great article called "Why is a Reverse Mortgage Considered a Financial Tool?" And I guess one of the things that I wanted to get into in the second part of the show, Barbara McIntyre, is the fact that the last time you were on the air with us, which was about this time last month, we were having a conversation about affordable housing in Brevard County. And many people aren't aware how big a challenge that this is becoming. We're all excited when we can go to a Zillow and see how much more our house was worth than maybe a year ago, and that makes us feel good and makes us feel like it's going in the right direction. But the underlining of that, or the other side of that story, is causing a crisis in housing in Brevard because it's making affordable housing very difficult. So if you're moving into the area and you're trying to find a house to live in, and that's a challenge because the house prices have risen so much.
So
But even if you're a renter, there's plenty of great options, but they're all tend to be more higher end. So if you have lots of income, you have lots of choices. But if you are working on your Social Security or you have a very fixed income, these changes are a big challenge. Not only that, one of the other side of house prices going up means that we're seeing a lot of seniors who are getting displaced. In other words, they may have lived in a location where they've rented a home for 10, 12 years, and suddenly the house changes hands. Well, it's not the person who bought the home trying to be mean or anything. It's just they paid so much more for the home that they now have a bigger mortgage or other things that they have to try to cover. Certainly the taxes are higher. Certainly the insurance is higher than it was. And so they're trying to, or probably need to get that extra money back out of the rent. Well, that's all good and fine if you're young and you can go take a second job and pay more rent if that's what you have to do. But it's very difficult on the senior who is stuck with fixed income, and going out to get a second job is really not an option. And
No.
then to kind of add insult to injury, there's a big problem with homeless seniors now, because as these people are getting displaced, they can't find a place that they can move into that can work within their income. And so you could imagine it would be difficult to be homeless in your able-bodied working years. You just say, well, I'll have to sleep in my car or something until I get on my feet. But we get calls on the senior information line from people in their 70s and 80s who are literally sleeping in their car because
that is just heartbreaking, Kerry. It's such a shame that we haven't been able to anticipate this happening and been able to do something to encourage builders or our government agencies, our local municipalities to start really thinking about how we can, create places like Trinity Towers where it's, we just don't have enough. And you're right, there's more and more seniors. And when someone like that calls me on the phone to see if I can help them, my mortgage product is based on you owning your own home. So it's not a resource that's going to help someone that's being put out of a home. And it's just a heartbreak to not be able to tell someone that you can help them.
Right. And so one of the challenges, Barb, is that most people aren't even aware that this is really happening, right? So we're kind of like happy as homeowners. We see the value of our homes going up, but we're not seeing the other side of it, which is really the challenge that it's creating for these seniors on fixed income. So last month, if you remember, you and I we started down this road where we had this conversation, and we talked about the fact that actually for homeowners, even if they're being challenged by rising costs, like the insurance is going up or the tax bill is going up, or even it's just becoming harder and harder to manage the mortgage. One of the advantages to reverse mortgage is the fact that you may be able to help somebody who's in a pickle. If they have equity in the home, they could perhaps do a reverse mortgage, have it cover the mortgage payment, and now all of a sudden they've gone from having negative cash flow to having free cash flow, and it makes life a lot better.
Absolutely. In that scenario, it's definitely can be a lifesaver. One thing I find myself advising clients that call that are in a home that are still struggling is, I always feel like, if you have a church or you're involved in a senior organization, there are other people, other seniors that are in the same spot, and perhaps house sharing, getting to know someone and then letting them share home expenses and have a room in your home. Oftentimes that could be a way to add more cash into the home and also give someone company. So I'm always trying to think out of the box to try to figure out different ways to encourage people to start seeing what they can do to improve the money coming into their home.
Absolutely. And, earlier this month, actually it was the April 8th edition of Hometown News. Our president and founder, Joe Steckler, he's a tireless advocate for seniors. And so he's been doing columns recently talking about this homeless crisis here in Brevard. In fact, his article in the April 8th edition was talking about dealing with homelessness in Brevard and just talking about that. But, the nice thing is when we started this dialogue, when you were on the radio in March, Barb, we came back. It was actually on the 31st of March. And I encourage you to find this radio show. Again, it's archived. It's called The Affordable Housing Crisis. But not only did we have a report, we had Phil Keschlein, who is not only the Brevard area coordinator for AARPs, the head volunteer for all AARP things here in Brevard County, but he is also the vice chair of the Brevard Commission on Aging, which the county commissioners have established as the official body that meets once a month to kind of like cover and advise on issues. And so Phil was kind enough to come down to the radio station. We had a good show talking about these challenges to where we agreed that one part of this is getting people aware of it. But the other guest that we had on the show with us, Barb, and I wanted to bring you up to speed on this because I thought this was very valuable. We had a lady by the name of Vinnie Richardson, who is with an organization called Housing Foundation of America. And she guested with us on that same show. And she was really a ray of sunshine in this because, so a couple of things. She was telling us on the radio, she says, number one, there's a tremendous amount of HUD money that's out there right now. She said, now you have to be willing to take the courses, go through the different recommendations. They want to have smart buyers. They want to have smart homeowners and things like that. So they want you to really understand what you're getting yourself into. But she said there is really not a reason for somebody to be foreclosed upon if you're a senior, and there's actually things that can be done even if you're a renter under distress with maybe a threat of foreclosure or eviction rather, and things like that. And she goes, the key is getting help early. And Vinnie says this. She says, the HUD folks do try to look after first-time home buyers. So a lot of them, they're talking to millennials and younger folks, and they're trying to get them educated about home ownership. But the part that I really appreciated about her, she's a senior herself. She goes, it breaks my heart to see this happen to seniors. So it's her personal mission. She scours the foreclosure notices of what's going on at the courthouses and then takes the time to, she said, there's no reason. There's enough programs. There's enough federal money out there. We've got to get somebody into the system. So as part of that show, it actually left us a little bit encouraged. And what we did was say, well, you get in touch with Nancy Deerdorf at who's our operations director at the Helping Seniors Helpline, 321-473-7770, 321-473-7770. And that's a great conduit because Nancy can take down all the information, get some kind of particulars, and then figure out, is this a good connection with Vinnie Richardson at Housing Foundation of America? Is this a good connection with Barbara McIntyre? Is reverse mortgage an option? And the key thing that I've heard this over and over from Nancy is it's so helpful when we get somebody not on the last minute, okay? So all too often she'll get a call from a senior that says, well, I have to be out by 6 p.m. tonight. Well, right. There are things that we can do, but it's very temporary and it's very transitional. We know who to call. We know how things can be done, but that's not the answer. The answer is if you know you're seeing the clouds forming on the horizon, the storm is coming, that's the time to start looking at all the different programs that could benefit you and help you. Because again, as Vinnie Richardson with Housing Foundation of America said, there's really no reason that somebody needs to lose a home in today's marketplace with all the federal assistance available, but you got to be willing to go through the process and get the help. They work with banks, they work with federal funds and all those things, and it was very encouraging. So if you didn't get a chance to hear that show, I would encourage you to find it. You can find it as a podcast. You can find it on the Helping Seniors of Brevard website. You can find it on our YouTube page. You can find it in Facebook. But look up the show. It was dated March 31st, and it was called The Affordable Housing Crisis. And I thought as we circle back today, Barb, to kind of carry a little bit farther the conversation we began last month, I thought that was an encouraging and a positive step as we're trying to figure out, well, how do we move through this? Because Joe's article really pointed out the challenges that people are having about finding affordable housing in our county.
Right. I think it's wonderful that that resource is there. I'm going to listen back too, make sure I get all the information to know, to be able to use her as a referral source when someone can be helped. So that's wonderful that we've located her, and she's going to be a big part in helping try to sort this out.
Yeah, I think it's a step in the right direction. So again, first you have to be aware there's a problem, and then get everybody focused on trying to see if we can come up with a solution. I know we're all smart people. We do care about our seniors. I just think oftentimes, I often say this. I get on my soapbox and I say, we live in a county. We love our kids, right? We voted for a half-cent sales tax so our kids could have the best schools that we could imagine for them. We care about our kids, and yet we have less kids under 18 than we have seniors over 65. So the same care and attention that we want for our kids is something we should do for our most seasoned adults. And
I agree
that they get the help that they need too. So Barb, let's shift gears in the time that we have left. Let's talk about something fun for a minute, which actually is very important to us, because without your help, the Helping Seniors organization isn't able to continue. And so one of the most fun things that we get to talk about is the Helping Seniors car raffle. I always tell people that's the
you mean the Mazda Miata I'm going to win this year?
I'm talking about the Mazda Miata that has a license plate that says Barbara McIntyre on it, right?
Woohoo!
Well, it's so much fun because Joe Steckler, our president founder, goes way back with A.J. Hires, who is the car dealer extraordinaire here on the Space Coast. He's got one of every dealership that matters. He's got the Mazda store, like we were just talking about, right there at the corner of US 1 and Hibiscus. He's got that Chevrolet dealership right there on US 1 Riverside. And then he's got the brand spanking new, gigantic Kia dealership right there on US 192. And he also opened up a brand spanking new Dodge, Jeep, Chrysler, Ram store up there right off of 520 in Cocoa. And so he's got one of every car. And when Joe and he were talking about this car raffle, we're now into our 6th year of doing this, by the way, as a fundraiser. He said, Joe, why don't we just give people a choice of car? He said, they can pick whichever car they want. So we said, okay, let's give the winner the choice to pick. They could have that 2022 Chevrolet Camaro. They could take a 2022 Dodge Challenger, or just like David Odahowski, who was our winner from the last year Helping Seniors car raffle. He chose the Kia Sportage. You could choose that, or you could choose a brand new Mazda Miata convertible, which I think, Barb McIntyre, is what you like.
You bet. Sure is. And it's a fun event, and it's a great way to help this nonprofit continue to help the seniors in the county. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, and it's so much fun because everybody enjoys the cars. We have so much fun with the cars throughout the year. We get out to events. I'm so glad that it seems like COVID is for the most part in the rearview mirror, because I see car events, I see events throughout the county opening up. You're going to see us a lot between now and the grand drawing date, which is October 29th, 2022. And you'll see us around the county. So you can get tickets there. You can pop by any of the Boniface Hires dealerships. Barb McIntyre, you have tickets, I think, too, right?
I certainly will. I'll be selling those tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's lots of places you get the tickets. You can also get them online, helpingseniors.carraffle.com. You can call Nancy. She'll get you squared away, 321-473-7770. The way it works, one ticket for $25 or 5 tickets for a $100 donation. It actually gives you 3 things. So as a Florida nonprofit, we only exist because of your generosity and your help. So when you buy those tickets, you are actually funding the work of helping seniors, because basically everything else somebody else is providing and helping us with. So your buying the ticket is actually continuing the operation of helping seniors in Brevard. The other thing that I like to point out is that you get a chance to win a car. So not only did you make a great donation, and at least in the past couple of years with the COVID, that even if you don't itemize your taxes, they've let you take up to $300 worth of donation anyway. So this would qualify for that. But here's the point. The second thing is you could win a brand new car. So I always go, well, $25, I'm making a good donation. I might actually come home with a new car. But in every ticket, I like to say this too, every ticket is actually a winner, because Mark Pylock, the very generous owner of the American Muscle Car Museum, which is that beautiful private, I would say 2 aircraft hangars big muscle car museum. It's his private collection. It's only open till the to when there's a charity event, and usually they're like black tie events. You know, it's $150 a ticket, $250 to get in, so it's a very high end event. But Mark, early on, he said no. He said, I want to make this a big event I want to give back and help the seniors. So just if you have a ticket, your ticket is admit one. So for your $25, not only do you get you're helping seniors, you're also getting a chance to win a car, but on top of that, you get to come to the museum. You don't have to be present to win, but you don't want to miss it, because Mark also springs for all the food, the beer, the wine. It's just a fantastic evening. Barb, talk about that. You've been to these.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people. You get to see all the amazing cars that are there, and of course, just rub elbows with some really nice people. And what I really liked about the museum is they have people that work there that, as you're looking at all these amazing cars and you have questions about them, I guess they're like docents in a museum. These guys know all about these cars, and they answer all your questions, and it's really so interesting to see. There's tons of antique, what I want to say, even like not yard equipment, but you know what I'm talking about, Kerry, the antique tractors. All kinds of really unique, antique automobiles and tractors. So it's just really fun to go. And of course, the excitement's just building and building and building up to the moment that the name is drawn. Don't have to be there to win, but if you are there, wow, how exciting.
Yeah, you got to get your tickets and join us. So that's the time we have for today's Helping Seniors Radio. Thank you, Barb McIntyre. We will see you next Wednesday right here, 90.3 FM. WEJF.
Thank you.